All right. Hi, everyone. Um, Welcome to our Facebook Live event. I have a question. I'm so excited that you're here. And before we start, I want to know, how old is your child, or are your children? That kind of helps us get an idea of what's going on, who we're talking to. And so I'm going to give just a couple minutes for people to hop on here. They're coming. All right, if you're just joining us, thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited that you're here. I want to know from you, how old is or are your kiddos? That kind of helps us get an idea of who we are helping tonight. So if your kiddo is 4, and it doesn't have to just be your ready for kindergarten kiddo. If you have a 16-year-old and a 3-year-old at home, that's so fun to know too, because I like to be able to think of ways we can incorporate ready for kindergarten while using an older child in the mix too, because that makes it a lot of fun for them too. So go ahead, and I'd love to hear. If you want to share your names or any details, that'd be so cool, but I really would love to know how old your kiddo is. I hope you're excited. We have some fun activities that you can do with your kiddos today to work on some of those ready for kindergarten components that you learned during your spring session. And then we also have just if you have any questions about any of your materials, or even things that aren't your materials, but you have questions about it, I want you to feel welcome to ask those in the comment section. I found them last time. I was having a hard time finding those comments. So yeah, I want to know how I can help you, because that is my goal. So we have a 16 and a 3-year-old. That's so awesome. Alicia, I think I remember you from the last time. So awesome. Welcome back. Angie has a 5-year-old. Lizbeth, you have a 2 and a 5-year-old. I am right there with you. Lizbeth, are yours boys or girls, or one of each? So how fun. All right, so one thing I want to start with first, in the comments, go ahead and answer, is there any questions that you have about any of your ready for kindergarten materials that you received, or you did the session but maybe you haven't received your materials yet? Is there anything that you thought like, what is this craziness? What am I supposed to do here? I would like you to feel welcome to ask so that we can help you with that. That's the whole purpose of us being here tonight, is to help you understand how to use the materials in a way that you can play with a purpose with your kiddo. So I'm going to go ahead and close the question. If more people come in, I would love for you to answer that in the comment section. That's a perfect place. My next one I want to know is, they talk a lot about in the sessions, creating a safe place for your child, and knowing that your child is loved. I think that was in each session on the social and emotional component. So I want to know, what is your favorite part of the day with your children? What is something that you look forward to? And you know what? Some days it might be bedtime, and that is okay. I don't, if that really is where you're at right now, because it's been a rough one, it's okay to put that too. Don't worry. Um, I know for me, one of my favorite parts of the day is I have a special time with my oldest son. His name is Liam, and he's 5. So when my youngest, who's 2, is napping, we have a special time of day called Mommy and Liam time. And it's where we can do some harder things that are just really hard to do with a 2-year-old, like puzzles that take up more time than a couple minutes, or art projects that have more materials that I want to deal with my 2-year-old. So it's a really fun and special time for me. And I know it's my son's favorite part of the day too, but you know, that's not my question. I want to know what you love. Maybe it's my husband's is cuddling with the kids and reading. He is probably home reading with them right now. That's usually what I find him doing, and he absolutely loves it. So, yeah. Alicia, morning breakfast hours or bedtime when we read books. Those cuddles are super nice. They're really great. In our Ready for Kindergarten Google Drive folder, I added a document that Facebook Live doesn't let you screen share in the middle. You have to either screen share the whole thing or not screen share. And so I can't show you from right now, but there's the bit.ly, and I will put it in our comment feed. It's supposed to be on our image right now too. It's our featured link. So in our bit.ly, there's a folder. If you want to check it out now, or not, it's okay. There's a folder called Behavior Resources. And I'm also going to do a screenshot tutorial of this probably right after we end. I think it'll be just a couple minutes long, but I didn't want anybody to freak out and think they were missing today's video by doing it a little bit earlier before. So then there's also a time called, there's the last article is the most important 9 minutes of a kid's day. And this is a document that I found that really helped me out when I was working. I used to be a teacher, and so I would always feel the stress of trying to get out the door in the morning so you're not late for work, and the stress of trying to get dinner on the table so that you aren't eating at bedtime, and then the stress of getting them to bed before it's too late. And I felt the stress all the time. And so this document really helped me just kind of calm down. So it says the 9 most important minutes of the day are broken into 3 different times for 3 intervals of 3 minutes. And they say the 3 minutes after they wake up, the 3 minutes after school, or a reuniting. So maybe after daycare, after they were at swimming lessons, anytime that they were gone for you for a little bit of time. And then the 3 minutes at the end of the day. Those are the most important 3 minutes of your kid's day. And so that really forced me to think about, okay, what am I doing with my kid? Because a lot of it, well, not a lot of it, but some of it, I was pregnant. And so he would wake up and he'd be like, "Hi, Mom." And I was like, "Here's my phone, watch some Netflix, I need to sleep." And then I wondered why we had a really hard day because that was how he started out without that connection piece from me. And I know there are some days where that is the reality. It's just they wake up too early. They always wake up too early. Your kid might wake up at 9 o'clock, but sometimes that's just too early for you. And that's okay. But it really helped me focus on how to calm myself and prepare. And knowing that those 3 times of the day were really important with my son, that was when we would do some of our Ready for Kindergarten things where we could have some of that undivided attention. He knew I was focused on him, and it was a really great time to connect. And it also fit in well with the reading 30 minutes a day and playing for 15 minutes a day. I know those times aren't the same, 3 minutes and 15, but it's a little bit of a start. And sometimes it might go a little longer. might be the beginning of the day and you don't have extra minutes, but it could just be a moment of sitting down with your child at breakfast and trying to eat together instead of trying to make lunches while they're eating in a different room because you got a lot to do. It's really hard, but once you know that those moments are really worth it for your child, it's really nice to be able to have that concrete, like, all right, let's do that. And we've had a lot of feedback on helping our children with the social and emotional pieces during the pandemic. And so I think having those moments of connection that are at a regular interval, it really helps our kids know that they are loved and they are safe, they have a warm place to be. So it's a really valuable tool. And then having that strategy schedule, that's a better word, schedule to the day is really good too. So trying to look around here. I see that there are comments, but I don't see comments. And so I'm going to figure this out.
I was able to pull them up.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Alicia says she's been loving the CD that was sent home with the dual language songs.
Yes, it's so fun, isn't it? I don't know. Oh, there we go, Lisbeth and Jen. Thank you. Getting home after work. It's mom and daughter time. That's so great, Lisbeth. Play outside. Yeah, the videos are always fun too. Jen loves reading and eating with their daughter. That's so perfect. Let me see. So you said Alicia is enjoying, you might just have to read me the comments.
Oh, we've been loving the CD that was sent with the dual language songs. Thank you for making and putting that together.
Awesome. I think those CDs are so great. I love the quality of the music that's in them. I like that you're not just listening to a little kid CD, like it feels really quality. So Alicia, I'm really glad that you and your family are enjoying the CD. And then I hope if you have it in your kit, I hope you give it a chance in the car. It's really great. My kids really enjoy it. And it also really helps my 2-year-old to just kind of settle down. He plays this, we play the song and he gets really proud when he's stomping his feet to the If You're Happy and You Know It. So there was a CD in the 2 to 3 kit and the 4 to 5-year-old kit. Right after school when we talk about what he learned today and bedtime. Yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing your guys' times that you love to spend with your kiddo. That's so great. So I want to ask, is there anything in your kit that you got home from after you took your class online, the webinar or
Online module.
the module? Thank you. If you got it home and you thought like, wait, this isn't what I thought it was. If there's any questions that you have about that, because I want to know about that before I get into some suggestions for some summertime activities, or I guess not necessarily summer, it could just be warm weather. Just trying to see if I could pull it up too. Dashboard? All right, I'm trying to see. I wonder if it's something that I have set up on here that I don't know. I don't know what's going on about that. Okay, I don't see that we've gotten any new oh, we have a new one. Pam, I have a new comment. I don't know. I don't know what it says. I just have a new I know that I have a new comment, so I don't know what it is though.
Jennifer says she hasn't got the kit yet. I just finished the one online. Yes, tell her I did get her evaluation form.
Perfect. And Pam would like you to know that she has your evaluation form, so she has your kit ready for you.
So she just needs to sign up for a time to pick it up.
And then just sign up by emailing back, right?
No, there's a link.
There's a link. So sign up for the link to pick up your packet. I do all the modules, but I'm not going to lie, when I get to the evaluation, I click end because that's not my goal. My goal is to learn the materials so that I can help you guys. Um, so, all right, so I have some, I think they're pretty fun activities. My kids seem to think they're pretty fun, and they also help us reinforce the ready for kindergarten targets, learning targets. So one of them is a type of a cakewalk, or maybe it is a cakewalk. Somebody asked me, they said, oh, did you give your kids cake? No, I didn't. And I didn't call it cakewalk either. Depending on what your child is at, where they're at, these could be used for anything. I got these really fancy paper plates, just the pack of 100 for like $2. And I have them painted for colors. And so I have yellow, purple, so I could pretty much use with any of my ages because all the learning targets, they add colors. But you could also add numbers. During the winter session, we talked about numbers. You could add, well, not on the black one, but you could add like the dots for the dot cards, or you could add the written numbers. You could add the letters. This spring was about the letters families, so you could add those. Anything you wanted to add on that, you could totally do it, and it would work. And then you just spread them around the room. Now here's where it depends on your kids. You have to know what your kids are going to like. I have a 5-year-old that's super competitive and a 2-year-old that's still processing and trying to figure it out. So what we did is we put out a few colors. I think we just had the rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And we did 2 of each color. And it doesn't even have to be in a circle because we did a dance party and then combined it with this. So we were playing some, I don't know, Disney songs, and the kids were dancing, dancing, dancing. And then I would roll a cube and it would say red. And so they would run to stand on a red circle. And so then they were there and they stood there until the music started, and then they were dancing, dancing, dancing. And I'd roll a cube again, and maybe this time it was yellow. And so they would run to the yellow. And so having 2 circles per 1 circle per kid was super helpful for me because I didn't have a 2-year-old crying that he didn't get one. That was my main concern. I wanted him to have fun and learn, and my 5-year-old got out a lot of energy, and he got to feel competitive even though it wasn't really that competitive. And so that was really nice. There we go. I think I just showed my link. Did my link just pop up? I just saw the thing that said show your link.
Sorry.
That's okay. If it's something I can answer, please let me know because I can't see anything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and I love being able to help. So we did that, and what I used for a cube is we got one in the mail, and it has each one color on each side, and it's about like this big. But I know for a fact that at the Dollar Tree they have cubes with dry erase on the sides. And so you can write whatever component it is that you want to do. So if you want to do this with letters one day, you can. If you want to do it with colors, you could color it with dry erase markers, or you could just sacrifice a dice and color it or paint it, make it a little more permanent. You could write the numbers on that dice and then just roll it. This is a fun one too. If you have older kids, you can incorporate them by someone could take turns rolling. They always love that part. Or if you're having a play group and the kids are getting a little restless and they're not really sure what to do, this is a fun one to whip out. You can make it competitive. You could not, just by having the right number. And if you didn't want to do the plates, another option is you could do felt. And you don't even have to cut them. Just go to Joann's or Hobby Lobby, or I think even Walmart, and get the felt sheets. And however many of each color you want to do, you could do that. Those will last. That's why I suggest felt. But you could also just do construction paper or even just notebook paper and color on them. And I also am a big fan of using the foam tiles that you get in the flooring kits, the foam floor. I think I feel like every parent has a set of them somewhere. And if you don't, that's okay. But so there's about 4 different ways that you could do this activity on whatever you have available. It doesn't have to be fancy. Something that I've really been learning through Ready for Kindergarten and through my 5 years as a parent is that the only person who cares if it's fancy is me. My kid doesn't care. He just knows if it's fun and if I'm engaged with him. That's what he knows. And so it's funny because as I was doing the modules, I think it's the 2 to 3 year old one where they get the mini vehicle puzzles. And I thought, gosh, they're really using those puzzle pieces all the time. I thought, because that's what they like. They don't know anything else unless they don't know that you could have a different toy for different things, and they only know whatever we allow them to. So if you just color on some paper with your crayons, and that's your red component, or that's your letter M, that's perfect. That's wonderful. So I don't know, is there a way that you would see your kiddos using that? Is that a game that you think, oh, my kids, you know what I can see? This is what I can see. Where is my thing? Dashboard. All right. I can see questions. I just wrote it as a poll because it's me. How do I do my questions? Don't tell me I had to do these at the beginning. There they are, questions. Okay. Add a question because I can see your feedback for this. So, my gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I watched webinars on this. I was like ready. Okay. Is it open? Maybe it is open right now. Probably not. So my question I'm trying to ask you guys is this something that you think your kids might enjoy? You see it? Okay, good. Now how can I see it? I tried so hard. I was telling Pam, I watched YouTube. I was learning how to use this Facebook Live for you guys. I was really trying. All right, there we go. Does this sound like a game your kid? It's okay if that you're like, no, not really. My kid won't dig it. And if you think maybe, but I would need to tweak it somehow, this is what we're here for. I would love to help brainstorm with you and our other viewers on how we could help adapt it to something your kid would enjoy, because that's the goal. The goal is to do some games to help prepare your kids for school that are fun for both of you guys. So yeah, take a minute and active, loud, and engaging, right? It's definitely a loud time. This is a game that for my 2 and 5-year-old, we wrote it out for a solid 15 minutes, which is a huge win in my book for something mom directed. If it's their directed, they can go for half an hour. But so that was where we were at with it, but they really enjoyed it. So, and when they started to get a little old, we just switched it up. So the other kid rolled the dice, and that was really fun. But they told me moms were not allowed. It was a kid game, so that was pretty sad. Oh, Alicia, the pirate game. Yeah, sometimes that can be a little hard too, and the colors on the pirate game, they're beautiful, but sometimes I think it's a little overwhelming too for the kiddos. Trying to think. Alicia, I'm wondering, did you try it with all the matches all at once, or did you try, I think it comes in like 4 or 2, definitely 2 packs. And I wonder, did you break it up and do it like 2 packs at a time or 1 pack at a time, or I'm just curious. I mean, sometimes I know when we started the memory games, it was a little overwhelming if we started far, like big quantities. So, but hopefully he'll enjoy it. And if he doesn't, maybe if he likes Paw Patrol, something I've considered doing is just slapping the Paw Patrol pictures on like a piece of paper and then making my own memory cards, because that's what my kiddo is really into also. And so I thought, well, that way we can have something that they're really interested in too. Mhm. Okay. Um, so another activity that I have is water play. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button if your kid likes water play. Any kind of water play. They're in the water, it's a water tub, it's a table, it's the bathtub, it's anything. Go ahead and hit that like button. I want to see if your kid loves water play as much as mine do, because they've already been begging to whip out the pool. And we actually tried it one day, the little tiny one, and they decided it was too cold. Who could have guessed? So I have here a beautiful tub. And if I am doing like a water tub, I use like an underbed storage tub, which is about like this. And if I am using, I mean, you can use the kiddie pool, you could use the bathtub, you can use whatever you would like to use. And a few different things I had in mind to share with you. I am a bona fide hoarder, and I have a hard time throwing things out. So I have a lot of like these little lids. This one's from a Play-Doh thing, and here's from a water, and it has the letter K on it. So this was, I made it with the 4 to 5 year old word families, but it definitely doesn't have to be. It could be whatever your kid's target was. So we have a Z, excuse me, M from another water cap, and V from a baby food jar, and whoop, that was a great catch, and a Y, you can't see that really, there we go, and a Y from a milk carton. So all these different caps, and if you don't have caps, that's fine, you don't have to. There's tons of different things you could use that float. You could use eggs from Easter eggs, break them apart. You could use ping pong balls, which I forgot to bring my ping pong ball. You could use ball pit balls. And I know for a fact that the Dollar Tree has ping pong balls for an 8-pack for $1. So, I mean, there's your whole word family for $1. And you could buy 2 packs if you want to have more options. Or even pool noodles. You could get a pool noodle at the dollar store and then chop it up into smaller pieces just using a kitchen knife and write the letter on it wherever you feel comfortable. You could cut this in half if you want and really maximize what you get. So any of these or anything else that floats. Do you have other ideas for things that would float? And because I'd love to hear it. But my idea with this is whatever learning target you wanted to do. If you want to do colors, if you want to do letters, if you want to do numbers, any of that, that's the prep that you have to do ahead of time. You have to figure out which item you want to write it on and have that item. So we're talking about, I don't know, not a lot of prep. Not a lot. They could probably get it done in half an episode of Blippi. So you fill it up in your tub, however deep you want the water to get. And then you could use, now here's your options. You could use your cards that you get from the Ready for Kindergarten program. You could use those cards and you could draw out one and you could say, can you find the letter that matches this? Cue, this is when I would have a really good card. And they can use a net. It they have a net, which they have some of these at the Dollar Tree too for bug season, catching bugs. If you don't have a net and you don't want to buy a net, you could just use a slotted spoon too. You know, and they're digging through, and have in mind these would be floating around and trying to catch them. And then they're like, oh, I caught it, here it is. And they're super excited. If you wanted to work on numbers, you could do either matching the actual number, or like it could be written, or you could pull a number from your cards and say, can you find 3 items? And they're scooping around in their bin, and they're like, here's 1, great job. And they set it wherever the outside of the water is. Okay, let's find another one. Here's 2, great. And then also if you wanted to do colors, whatever you're doing, just could have colors. And if you don't want to invest in ball pit balls, which really only have like 5 to 6 colors in them, you could do the ping pong balls and paint them. Oh, yeah. I told you guys I'm a hoarder. We don't even really get a whole lot of pouches. These have been saved over the last like 5 years. Not kidding. Pouch caps. If you get pouches, not gonna lie, when I started this, I bought pouches just based on the color of their cap. And so you can use pouch caps. How can I show this? I can't. There you go. Is that good? So you could put those in the water for them to fish them out. So, and you could combine this with other targets. Like, can you find 3 red caps? And they're fishing around for it. And if you're in the patterns too, if your child really enjoys patterns, I believe we talked about patterns in the winter. It may have been the fall though. The exact timing is escaping me. You could do a pattern like, my pattern is red, yellow, red. Can you find the next color? So they're finding it. If you didn't want to do this in water, you could do it in rice. You could do it in shaving cream. Shaving cream is really fun, especially if you have a water bin and they could wash up. But even if you don't, it's super fun. And shaving cream is just soap, which I didn't know this until recently. So now I'm a lot more willing to play with it. You could do it in sand. You could do it in dirt if your kid really likes construction vehicles. That's another way to adapt it to your kid. The FDA, Fun, Dance, and Adapt. So if your kid is into those, you could use the dump truck and the excavator to find those that they're looking for. And those are fun. If they're construction themed, you can just write them on rocks because you're not worried about them floating around. And if you're going to use it in rice or sand or the shaving cream or any other item like that, you can just get rocks out of your backyard or, I don't know, wherever you find rocks, and just write the letters and stuff on there. So that's like even super easier and a lot cheaper. So those are other ways that you can incorporate those targets with your kids and using that outside. What do you guys think about that idea? Does that, I know they would go under the category of a sensory bin, if that's the lingo you want. I don't know, messy play is just a hit in my house, whatever it is. So is there a way that you could adapt one of those ideas? I have one more, and I think I didn't get this done ahead of time, and I apologize, but I do want to, I found out how to make trims of this, and now I'm going to see if I can export it to put these little clips of these ideas into our shared drive. And if not, I'm definitely going to type it up for you guys so that you have those notes in case there was something that you're like, oh yeah, she mentioned this and what. So I will do that, but I would love to be able to do the clips, but we'll see. We'll see what works best.
Can you ask Jennifer if she got the directions on how to schedule a time for her?
Hey, Jen. Pam's wondering if you got the directions on how to schedule the time to pick up your materials. And if you want, Jen, Jen's my buddy. You can just text me if that's easiest, and I can hook you up with that, or you can email us, but let us know if you got the directions so we can help you get those materials. Okay. My last idea for some summer fun play involves squirting water. um, all these materials I recommend from these like just additional ideas. I do the research at the Dollar Tree just because, not that they're nowhere else in town, but I just want to find it like the most affordable. And I know that the Dollar Tree isn't always like the best deal, but I also am trying to be aware of everybody's needs. And so if the Dollar Tree is not your place, but you like to buy your ping pong balls from Big Five, that's fine. If you want to buy them from Amazon, if you don't want to buy them at all, that's fine too. You have plenty of resources to play with your kids through here. And so I just really, the packets this time, besides the bathtub toys in the 2 to 3 kit, or maybe it's 1 to 2, there wasn't a lot of getting wet. I wouldn't want to put your wooden puzzle pieces in the water. And when I think of spring or summer, that's what I think of. That's what my kid thinks of. The puzzle pieces are really fun to put in sand or rice. So those are nice. But yeah, if you were going to put them in like the dirt or the water, I wouldn't want to put your nice wooden puzzle pieces in there. So that's at your discretion. Oh, I also forgot to show you these. Super cute. You could even just, they have packets of foam at the Dollar Tree or wherever you get stuff. And I cut out these awesome fish, blah, 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 for them to put in the water. Can't even hold it the right way. And they could just try to find their match. Or if you have an excess of Easter eggs after the holiday, you could have them try to match their top and their bottom. And here's something where you can really differentiate it for your kid. You can make the colors match like I did here, but you could also, your kid might be beyond that and your kid might be ready for something harder. And so maybe 1D is on this one and 1D is on a yellow. So they really have to focus. And then, or maybe your kid knows their letters, excuse me, their lowercase letters, because that's what we focus on with Ready for Kindergarten. But you still want to do some work on that. You could also, I forgot to draw this, I'm sorry. I can do it really quick. So I brought my Sharpie. You could also have your kid match, sorry, it's not the best. These are really hard to write on with a fine tip Sharpie. I learned that today. You could also have them match a cap. That's a D. That's a D, sorry. You'd also have them match the capital D to the lowercase d, or whatever letter it is. So that's a way you could differentiate those in like a bunch of different ways. You could have them, you could write the number at the top like 3, and then have 3 dots on the bottom. Or if you have an excess of stickers, you could put stickers on them, and have them match those, the quantities. Or if they're matching colors, you could just have them do colors and you don't have to write on them at all. So there's a few different ways that you can do some Ready for Kindergarten activities and learning targets with your Easter eggs that you might still have. I always save mine and fill them up the next year. It's a lot easier. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I was so worried on the targets too, but Pam pointed out the large motor. Doing this color game, letter game, number game, anything where they're up and moving, it's a gross motor, it's large motor, they're moving their body, and you could even incorporate it in like skip to the yellow. You might have an obstacle course that you set up and you're like, skip to the yellow, and they get there and you're like, now run to the purple as fast as you can. And that's always really fun too, to burn off some energy and get them up and moving those big motor skills. The water play is also great fine motor. You're holding on to the into your whatever scooper you're using, and they're having to um, dig and scoop and dump. And so those are really great fine motor things. But also putting eggs together is great help with your fine motor because you have to use those little muscle fingers. Those muscle fingers are what help our kiddos become good writers. That's what helps develop their stamina and their muscle endurance for when they learn to write. And they are, especially in school, and they have to hold that pencil to do their work. That's those fine motor activities are what they're good for. So those are in the ways that we just talked about, but also doing puzzles and other ideas. Those are really great for those fine motor skills too. So kind of what you were thinking of. Puppets, finger puppets. Oh my gosh, those are so fun. You can do puppets just with your fingers. You could make some with socks if you really want to, and having some puppet play like, "Hi, Liam, how are you today?" "I'm good." And they're talking. I know in, was it 3 to 4, they did puppet talk. I have my sheet. I could look it up if anybody is really worried about what level that was. But 2 to 3. Okay, so in 2 to 3, they were talking about doing puppet talk with your kid. That's something that I think is really fun for all ages. They introduce things, and that's why it's really nice if you've done the program, because those things, just because they introduce them in 2 to 3 doesn't mean that that's where it needs to stay. They're really fun to keep going and interacting throughout. Oh, the water squirting. So how are we doing here, guys? Do you have any questions? Anything like, no, this is great, but I really want to know X. Please tell me. Please help me out. I want to be able to help you guys out. Yeah, Alicia, I know you have now I'm losing it. I know there was a couple of you. I'm thinking back to when your ages of your kiddos. I know, Angie, you said you have a 5-year-old, and now that the names are gone, I don't want this open. I opened a new card. I can't figure out how to close it. I thought it would pull up my answers from when you guys answered before. Maybe it was this one. Alicia, you have a 3-year-old, so not quite. Lizbeth, that's Lizbeth. Is your 5-year-old getting ready for kindergarten next year?
Registered, any questions?
Yeah, registration is open for kindergarten, or if maybe anybody that you know is getting is ready. If you have any questions, let me know. We can help you with that. If you have any, where do you go for it? It's pretty overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. I called the district. I have to register my son, and I called them to make sure all of my stuff was in. And I felt a little bad, like I was that mom, but I was also that mom that really needs her kid to go to kindergarten next year. So full disclosure. Okay. All right, so the last activity that I had planned that I wanted to share with you was squirting water. Squirting water is always super fun. And I don't like having water squirted at me at all, almost never. And so my son really likes this, and he asks for it all the time, for me to write things on the fence for him to squirt. And so sometimes I'll write shapes, draw shapes. Sometimes I will draw letters. Sometimes it'll be numbers, just kind of whatever we need to work on. And then I'll have to ask him, like, okay, can you squirt, or can you wash away all of the T's? Oh, great job. Can you wash away all of the triangles? And so he will do those different activities, and he loves it. Sometimes we'll do simple math with it. Can you find the number of, if I have 4 apples and I add 1 more, can you wash away that number? And so he'll be looking for his 5 and wash that away. So those are different ways that I've scaffolded it to meet his needs where he's at. I have another friend that has older kids, and she has her older kid, well, an older and a younger. She has her older kid write the stuff on the fence for the younger kid to wash away. Clever. So that's a fun way to tie in those older kids. They're learning because they're practicing their fine motor skill of writing it. And I actually read that writing on a vertical surface is like the best way because it builds up a lot of your arm muscles too. So they are learning and they are working on their fine motor skills and a little bit of gross motor, learning that, getting that muscle endurance. And your younger kid is working on the recognition. That is smart activity. And even if you don't have an older kid to do that for you, it's still a pretty chill activity and it's really nice. Word of caution is that if you're done with the activity before your kid washes them all away, wash the rest of them off because I have a few letters that are kind of sunburned into our fence. Oops. I learned that the hard way, so now you know, and you can make that, you can do what you want with that information. But it's there. So that's always a really fun one for us. And if you have another kid, they can use a squirt bottle, just like your hair water bottle that you would use with just water, and they can squirt that too. That's always a really fun one. And that really helps build those muscles in your hands, some more fine motor. And then, yeah, I have some other gross motor ideas that I could tell you about if you're interested. Let me know. And fine motor, I always worry about fine motor, but I find it's a lot easier than I think. Even just turning the pages in a book, if your kid is the one turning the pages, they're working on fine motor. Playing with Legos, they're doing fine motor. Cutting their paper, they're working on fine motor. It's a lot easier than I ever thought it was. The gross motor tends to be a lot harder, which it seems like that would be easier, you know, just move your body. But it can be hard sometimes, especially when maybe I'm not in the mood to do it, is when it's really hard because I want him to do it, but I don't want to because I'm tired for or whatever. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to give you some more ideas. We have about 10 minutes left. No questions? Oh gosh, yeah, beading. You can put beads on, and that's the fun part is varying what you're putting the beads on. My 2-year-old was putting beads on a toothpick the other day, and he just turned 2 in March. But we put some in the like styrofoam to hold the toothpick in place, and he was just threading the beads on there. And it was super fun. You could do it on pipe cleaners. You could do it on string, obviously. So like the older they get, the more you can scaffold that to them, and you get it a little more unstable. And they have to work a little bit harder and focus, and holding that string is hard. So that's another way that you can really up the ante for those kids. Gosh, there's so many ways. Buttons, zippers, Velcro, putting their shoes on is really good. Fine motor, putting their socks on. Yeah, eating is fine motor. Just being able to, whether they eat with their fingers or whether they eat with silverware. Okay, so I will finish out with a couple more gross motor ideas for you if you need them, and if you don't, that's fine. Something that we were doing earlier this week, and I've seen it around, is hopscotch. And I saw that on, I'm pretty sure it was the 4 to 5-year-old learning targets, doing hopscotch with your kids. And so you can do it, again, to whatever target you want to work on it with them. You can, so you build it outside on the sidewalk or the patio or the driveway or wherever it's safe and a good place for your kid. And you draw it however you want. And you could do this so many different ways. And it doesn't actually have to be the old hopscotch that we know from kids, like where it's 1, 2, 1, 2. You could make them far apart so that they have to jump to the next one. That's gross motor. You could make it really far apart so they have to run. Um, that's another great gross motor. They could gallop or skip or hop on one leg. Um, those are all gross motor. Riding their bike is good, but that's probably a little too far for this game. um, but anyways, you could do it in so many different ways. You could have them toss a rock or a beanbag, and then they have to whatever mode of transportation to get there. So they could jump to get to the S. Like I know in this 2-year-olds, it was DMSTV. So that might be your hopscotch. And you might have drawn that card from your target pack. And they threw the rock and it was closest, whatever it's closest to. Don't try to make them hit that because they'll get frustrated. But it was closest to, and then they have to get there however they want to. And that's really fun. You could also mix it up. You could, if they're really getting good with those targets, you could mix up like, I need you to go to STV. So they're going to, maybe S is the farthest away and T is closest and V is in the middle. And they have to go to those places. You could do that with the plates if you didn't want to do it with the chalk. And maybe you want to do it in the yard. So you could do it with the plates too. I have a set of those foam tiles. And I got a set that was just plain. And on the bumpy side, they're plain. On the smooth side on the back, I wrote with Sharpies numbers. And if you get a 36 piece, you can write 1 through 20 and then count by 5s all the way to 100. And you have enough tiles to get you there. And so we mix it up in a variety of ways. And it's really fun. My son will mix it up. He'll do like 1 through 8. And then he'll reconfigure it and he says, now you go, Mom, but you have to go in order. And so I have to jump around to get in order. And then I'll mix it up on him like, okay, but you have to go in order. So start at 1. And so he'll have to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that's a really fun way to get those wiggles out. But also even games just like red light, green light, tag, Simon Says, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. All of those are really great gross motor skills too. And they also teach listening and following directions, which is important for getting ready for kindergarten because we want our kids to have about a 5-minute attention span for an activity when like the teachers are giving directions. So those are the activities that I had prepared for you guys tonight. I would love to answer any questions. If you think of any questions when you're going through your packet, please feel free you can email Pam, or you could, and she can leave her email in the comments, right? Can you comment? Okay. And then, or you could Facebook message if that's easier. So you can get that advice that you're looking for because we want to help you have that really fun dynamic with your kiddo and working on it. So I don't. Yep. As soon as you said that, as soon as you were like, I was like, oh yeah. So I have some information for you for things coming up, and I'll put this in our Google Drive, so I hope you check that out. Ready for kindergarten, your links close on June 1st. So you still have almost a month to do the module if you haven't yet. And if you have done it, you have about a month to pass it on to a friend that would be interested in it too. And then they can also have those materials and the knowledge that you have. So there's that. And then the district has some really great, there's 2 things here, right, Pam? Okay, yes. Which one's first? There's one more session of Parenting with Love and Logic, and it's on May 11th from 7 to 8 via Zoom, and it's how to build a parent-child relationship that lasts a lifetime. So Love and Logic is a super great tool. A lot of people have been asking for help with helping their child during this difficult time and parenting, and Love and Logic is so great for that. Their goal, these guys are hysterical for starters, and I think it's Heather that's doing the classes. She's super knowledgeable about this, and the whole philosophy is helping your kids when they're young make these mistakes now that are small. They're not super big. And putting those drops in each other's buckets, and then helping them so that they don't make those huge mistakes when they're bigger. You know, my kid really wanted to stand on the rocking horse. My sister was so mad that I let him. Said he has to learn. I've told him 3 times not to stand on it. He has to learn. I would rather him learn that he can get hurt falling off the rocking horse than falling off the roof. I would rather him learn that it's going to hurt if he rides his bike into the garbage can than if he drives his car into a telephone pole. That's the basis of love and logic. And it's also really fostering that healthy relationship between parent and child so that when they're adults, they want to be with you. Sometimes when we were growing up, if you're really honest with yourself, you can wait to get out of the house, and your kids still will have that tendency, but they'll want to come back. They'll want to come back for Christmas dinners. They'll want to come back for Mother's Day. You know, they'll want to be with you. They'll want to talk to you on the phone, or let's be real, they'll want to text you on the phone. But that's the basis of love and logic, and I really think it's a really great resource. So please consider checking that out. There's also Parent Camp on May 20th from 7 to 8. And the topic is, I saw it.
Our children, the tech they use.
Yes, raising kids in a digital world. So, I mean, with all the online they're doing now, for a variety of reasons, that's super important to be able to help them learn appropriate ways to handle their online and be cyber smart. And then there's just a couple long distance ones. The Parent Child Center is going to have a toddler class this fall from 9:30 to 11:30 on Thursdays. And that is a class through the community college, but it's $16. And then they also provide Tot Spot, which will be at the Center for Children and Families, which is where you're picking up your materials. That'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 11:30, and it's free. And it's a really great resource to, both of those are great resources for your kids to get some social experience, I guess, social play. And there's parent educators on there. I lost my train. There's parent educators there, and so each time you guys meet, you'll have a little topic that the parent educator is working with you on. And so that's really nice, and you can ask questions that you might have, and it's been a really great resource. And so those are 5 really great things to know about. And we have them posted places, and I'll put it in the Google Drive too if that helps you have it all in one place.
What's the registration link for
Love and Logic is bit.ly.www/www love and logic. And if you have any questions about registration, please let us know. If you haven't registered your kindergartner, or you know friends or family that haven't registered their kindergartner, please have them get that done sooner than later, because that'll really help the office as they are trying to, see what our schools are going to look like for next year. And it's just a peace of mind on you that it's done. You don't have to wait till August to do it. Get it done and enjoy your summer with your kid. But that's what I have for you guys tonight. I really thank you for joining us. If there's anything you need help with, please let us know. We're here for you. And I hope you have a happy spring and a happy summer, making some good memories with your family. Bye.